Okay, is this an error in the King James? In Ezekiel 28, it says, "Never shall you be anymore," referring to Satan. The New King James says, "Never shall you be anymore, comma, forever." Now this is where interpretation and translation, word for word versus thought, comes into play. Is forever a better translation? Why did they put the word forever at the end of the sentence? Well, in the original Hebrew, the last word is olam, which always means forever, or is usually translated forever. So is the New King James more accurate than the King James? I would say yes. But guess what? You could read the King James Version without the word forever and understand it in the exact same way. Why? Because he says, "Never shall you be anymore." He won't have being ever again. But the emphasis in the original language, with olam being there, adding the comma and forever, reflects the original intention of the author better, because the word forever is there in a word-for-word translation. But the King James negates it. So is that an error? This is the complication of translations. If I was to argue like a King James onlyist, I would be like, they omitted the word forever. It's in the text. Why didn't they add the word forever? Olam is in there. It helps the reader understand the intent of the author better when that word is added. So the New King James translators added forever because it's in the literal text. The King James doesn't put it there. Even though the way the King James renders it, you could understand it properly. And of course the early Adventists did when they understood what hell really is. Even though they only used the KJV. So this is where translation, interpretation is not, it has to mean this in every case. So the people who want to argue for KJV onlyism and they have horrible interpretations about hell and etc., they don't seem to be being honest with how interpretation and how language works. The New King James Version is a better reflection of the original language. Adding the word forever is more in line with what the original language says. It should say forever. It doesn't really matter that much. But languages aren't translated word for word. But sometimes you do a word for word translation to help the author or the reader understand the author's intent. So no, the King James Version is not right about everything compared to the original languages. The New King James Version is a better translation of that text, which emphasizes what the Bible teaches overall theologically about the fate of the wicked, which is that their existence will end when they're destroyed and God becomes all in all and there's no more rebellion, rather than God perpetuating sinners eternally so that the rebellion never ends and his promises are never realized.